Welcome to Beer Fueled. I am your host at Beer Fueled Hop with 2 P's, Chris Hopper, joined by Ryan Miner at Ryan Miner _FFB. Dan Thurry will be joining us a little bit later on. He is doing trivia right now. Where one of the
Lucky
categories is a specialty for him, so he should be with us a little bit later. We do this weird thing where we just don't coordinate, and then like day of, we're like, all right, yeah. Nope, there's at least two of us. We're good. Show up when you show up. So he'll be here mid-show.
We coordinate an hour and a half prior to the show.
Yeah.
Anything before that? Never.
Nah.
After this, it will be. It's only day up, an hour and a half before at the absolute
we
earliest.
Might bullshit with each other a little bit in between, but we don't really talk business from the moment we sign off of this until we come back to it the next Thursday.
Yeah, usually the first 10 minutes of the hour before we come right on.
Yeah. So first technical episode of the off season, because we don't acknowledge week 18. We'll tell you why you shouldn't in a minute. So we're gonna be doing our Fuelies today, which is our superlative episode, handing out awards in air quotes for you audio listeners for fantasy performances. We'll do a final check-in on the playoffs and see how some of our predictions over the last couple weeks unfolded. Latest in news and rumors. As of right now, because it's been previously announced, we do plan to wrap this up. Episode 500. Episode 500 would be August 29th at the moment, with one off week in there for the actual NFL draft. So, episode 500 would be August 29th, and that'll be it. So we'll plan a blowout for that. That would be the week before the regular season starts. So, yeah. I think that's all the housekeeping I got, so let's get into what we're drinking.
Let's do it.
What's fueling Beer Fueled?
All right, what are you drinking?
I am drinking an oldie but a goodie because you can't find it here in Michigan at all. They do not sell it. It's restricted. Still, probably always will be. I am drinking Yingling traditional lager.
Hey, there's hope. We didn't get it forever, and I think when you were down here for the draft in St. Louis, it had just we had just gotten distribution for the first time. So they're expanding it. But
it's I like getting it, but once they sell it here, I probably won't want it anymore. So I'm oh, now I just get it.
100% exactly how it went here. We were excited to get it, and we're like, all right, yeah, it's good, but the novelty of it's kind of not there anymore because we can get it. So.
Exactly. It's that's no longer fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. St. Louis has a lot of good beer, though. So, but, I mean, more on that about halfway through the episode. All right, I was up in the Springfield, Illinois region, so I got some access to some different things that I don't get down here. So I picked up a Dithering Bitter from Art History Brewing. It's a Yorkshire style best bitter, which is really just a best bitter. The British style of beer, Art History Brewing. Dan's probably more familiar with them than I am, but he's not here at the moment. They're out of Geneva, Illinois. So, well, I didn't go to their website or read their story or anything like that. You can do that if you want, arthistorybrewing.com. Best bitters, typically a little lighter in malt character, traditional British hops, and lower ABV. So, more on that about halfway through the episode.
News.
All right. One of the biggest arguments that I've seen on social media this week, it's really an argument, but people that still play in week 18 versus the people that have 2-week playoffs spanning week 17 and 18 versus the people that just do week 17. Here is why you ignore week 18. A thread. Patrick Mahomes is sitting. Lamar Jackson is sitting. All Rams starters are sitting, including everybody but Puka Nacua, essentially, because he's got a shot at the rookie receiving record. But no Stafford, no Kyron Williams, no Cooper Kupp, no Higbee. Vibes Commanders veterans won't play. Isaiah Pacheco and Rashee Rice are both banged up and are likely to sit for the Chiefs. No Elijah Mitchell or CMC for the 49ers. Some of that's injury related, but in the sense of that they had something to play for, they probably would have played. Brock Purdy is not playing. Joe Flacco is sitting in favor of Jeff Driscoll. The Eagles also saw something earlier this week that they might rest some people, and that's not even a comprehensive list of everybody that's going to be rested up. You got Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz in the Niners-Rams game. That's why you ignore
That
Week
sounds
18.
very exciting.
Yeah, that's why you ignore Week 18. Because do you really want your championship decided by, Tyler Huntley? Because Jackson's resting.
But not only that either, do you really want your championship being having to play, like Jacoby Myers or someone like that,
Right.
because all your starters are gone, and he was your third or fourth wide receiver, and everyone you have is gone.
Right. That's not how you want that to line up. Now, there is a slight chance of that in Week 17, but it's way, way less. And it's just like when it was a 16-game season, we ignored Week 17, right? You just ignore that last week because there are things that are settled that are going to cause this scenario. And even in a 2-week playoff, right, that doesn't really solve for this many guys that are fantasy relevant not playing this week. So that's the PSA. That is the only bit of kind of in-season type news we're going to get to. There's a bunch of guys that are banged up at the end of the year, not practicing, whatever. We're not touching on any of that because unless it's a major injury at this point, we don't really care. The fact that, I don't know, Mari Cooper's or Keenan Allen's heel is still bugging him really isn't going to carry as a story through the offseason. So we hope. So, yeah. Anyway, Dalvin Cook released by the Jets, signed by the Ravens. He's ring chasing, so that's a short-term signing.
Smart move on his end. I mean, the way Baltimore's running.
Yeah, he restructured his Jets contract so they didn't owe him any seed money to get out of that. Martavis Bryant was released by the Cowboys. For those that didn't know, Martavis Bryant was on the practice squad. Just thought that was a fun little note.
I totally forgot about that, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's where he went, didn't he?
Yeah. Probably released just in time to go to the newly formed UFL. Newly formed UFL is the USFL and the XFL have united to form an 8-team league, 2 divisions, 4 teams holding over from the USFL, 4 teams holding over from the XFL. So spring football, including the St. Louis Battlehawks. Not really a lot of springboard action there yet, but the XFL did have an existing deal with the NFL to test out like rule packages and changes and things like that. So it's interesting to keep an eye on. And they hang around long enough. They're going into, I think, combined. This is going to be 3rd season. The USFL had one before the XFL relaunch.
Yeah.
So you get a bit of staying power with, what's backing this. You could see more players making different spot for college guys to go shot and break training camp. So worth keeping an eye on if you're bored.
It would make like a good developmental league, I think.
I think so too.
Like, you know how
yeah,
like how the NBA has that one going out with was it G League?
Yeah, they got the G League, and you got the minor leagues in the MLB, and then the AHL and the WHL and ECHL and all of that, and in hockey. And I don't think you'll ever see this get to a point where it's a 1-to-1 relationship, but to see it get to a point where beyond the practice squad, you've got teams that retain draft rights to guys and are might have agreements in place. Maybe around the time the next CBA comes up, something like that. Right now, it serves as a good spot for people to actually get on the field, get playing time, and NFL teams to take an interest.
I think it actually benefits these XFL, USFL players because of the way NIL deals have been going in college.
Yeah,
where these kids aren't coming out anymore like they used to. So like trying to get that good talent, like you're getting the older talent now that's going to be in the developmental league, as we want to call it.
Yeah.
So it actually might help them sign. Like, if they play good this season, like as we saw last season, some of them are actually signed on to active rosters.
Yeah. No, we did. And that could very easily happen again. And, they're not paying buku bucks, but I mean, the salaries were, middle class livable. So,
yeah.
Plus, if you pull endorsement deals in these places like St. Louis that don't have NFL teams, you could really do pretty well.
Yeah, got a really good
it.
dome team there.
Yeah, you could do really well with it. But cool to see that sticking around. A scum of the earth Panthers owner David Tepper, who I've grown to hate a lot over the back part of this season. He's been fined $300,000 for throwing a drink onto a Jags fan during Week 17.
That's just bad sportsmanship.
It is.
I didn't really
about,
see it like look like he throw it. It looked like
Yeah.
he bumped it. Like he was just frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know if he really threw it, but I don't know. It was hard to see.
The more I see about this dude, the more I don't like him.
No, he just seems like a total dick.
It's going to be the next guy where Open gets ran out of the fucking league. But rich white guys being dicks, who would have thought? Sean McVay is going to continue to host the Rams in 2024. They're locked into a playoff spot, so it's supposed to be a transition year. He's done well.
Yeah.
Obviously great over the last 8 years, so.
Let's also see what Stafford does after this season.
Yep. Rams cut, speaking of the Rams, they cut kicker Lucas Haversick, signed Brett Maher, and then Pittsburgh is going to be writing, this might have dynasty implications, Pittsburgh's going to be writing Mason Rudolph over Kenny Pickett in a must-win Week 18 game. Not because Pickett's
That is crazy.
Right call?
And they're, well, you see who's ref in that game, right?
No.
Brad Allen's crew.
Oh, Jesus.
And that game has playoff implication to it.
And Brad Allen's crew's been one of the worst. The worst.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes. Even this year.
That was the whole fiasco with at the end of the Lions-Cowboys games. We won't get too much into that. I believe that Decker reported and the ref fucked it up by calling out the wrong guy.
The Bears game where Fields got laid out. No late hit.
Bears game where Fields got laid out. The end of that Chiefs-Packers game where every call in the last 2 minutes got missed. That was that crew.
The MVS and, pass interference that should have been called. That wasn't.
Yep. Yeah, that one.
That crew.
Yeah, it wasn't just
That's
like they missed it one way. They missed both ways in both instances. I mean, that Lions game, they screwed up the reporting. Also missed a tripping call.
Yeah, that play wasn't like the game changer. Like, oh my god, if they would have made this call, it's like the Lions had opportunities in that game where they could have won.
Yeah,
prior to that. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that's really, really annoying about NFL social media, right? And getting a little philosophical here. NFL fans and NFL pages love the slippery slope argument of, well, this one play caused this or made this happen. And whenever you listen to the players, and it's not just the Lions game, Eagles, Chiefs, if you listen to New Heights, every player says, look, it wasn't that one play. There are plenty of opportunities that, that we had or other things that could have happened to not be in that situation. Or there are things that could happen after that play too. That can change the outcome of that. But, yeah, okay, when it takes a definite touchdown off the board, when Travis Kelce play, where they let the play unfold and then called it back, maybe rightfully, maybe wrongly. But, and that takes a touchdown off the board, then yeah, it's easier to make that argument. You can say they shouldn't have been in that position, but it's easier to make the argument of that change the outcome of the game because it, really did. But, you start picking on calls in the third and fourth quarter or in the third quarter or whatever. Or they missed this holding call in the second. Like, okay, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
But, yeah, they like to magnify things and make slippery slope arguments. Assume that you know what the outcome of the game would have been for drama and for hits and interaction. That's just always the case.
Lions went for it on fourth down. They could have just kicked the easy field goal. And then we have this predicament.
Could have tied it, and then who knows what happens, right?
Yep, exactly.
And that's where, nobody's isn't Dan Campbell, but that's where, you see coaches get criticized for one call or something like okay.
Oh, I was criticizing it. Because it's like, all right, you went for it the first time, you missed it. You had it, and
you burn the play, right?
Yeah. So why keep doing it? Then, they got a lucky penalty that ended up being intercepted, but it was a penalty, so you do it again. So they had 3 opportunities to do it. You do the 2-point conversion the first time, that's it. Just say, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to take this game to overtime. But
could have taken it
whatever.
As a sign. Yep. All right. Rumor mill, because there is some of that. It's that time of year. Per
Always.
Josina Anderson, teams within the NFC South would have Bill Belichick injured.
Does Bill Belichick really want to keep coaching though?
Well,
I mean, was he 70? He's in the 70s.
right. And which teams? So if he decides to keep coaching, the Panthers have an opening. We expect the Falcons will probably have an opening. I don't think the Saints are firing Dennis Allen, and I don't think the Bucks are firing Todd Bowles. Right? So
No.
Panthers, is this the next lever Tepper's going to try to pull? Because that's what I thought when I first. Be a bad.
I mean, 71 years old. I mean, I think he walks away.
I think he does too. But I think if he doesn't walk away and this is the next move Tepper makes, it's a dumbass decision.
Oh yeah, I mean the guy he had his time, he had his run. It's like after you know it's so good, it's like okay, let's just move on. He's trying to do an old school type game that was working, and now it's not working. So
well, yeah, and they're not even investing in the spots you need to invest in for this type of game. Like you can hate on what's happened with Mac Jones all you want, but they didn't give him any help with the skill positions. The best thing they gave him was Devontae Parker. Yeah, because there's nothing there. They're not, putting anything on the field to help them. Yeah, the corpse of Zeke Elliott and a bunch of bad tight end picks and failed wide receiver picks, and you don't have somebody there elevating everything. So, yeah, I think that's an old game that he's trying to play that he needs to ride off into the sunset. I don't think anybody in the NFC South should be going out and grabbing Bill Belichick. Hi, Dan.
Hi, guys.
What you got?
Hey, Dan.
How was trivia?
We got one of those sports questions, Ron, which I didn't know who it was. As a tennis player, I don't watch fucking tennis, but
you're just guessing it.
It went all right. No, so the theme was it was ripped from a New York Times article. It was the 7 most influential people from sports, and it was Coco Gauff was the one we missed.
Oh, Coco Gauff.
Tennis.
Yeah.
Gauff, excuse me. Yeah. It was tennis player. So
and it was pictures.
Yep.
I probably would have gotten that one actually, just because
I got every other one of them right besides that one.
I probably would have gotten that one.
Next week.
Next week. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me drive 2 hours up on a Thursday one day I will. One day.
Worth it.
One day.
Yeah. Just bring the kid. He'll be fine.
He can stay with mom. I don't gotta bring him.
His name's Carlos.
Kid's staying home with mom. Getting hammered at Anvil.
Right.
Because Anvil. You hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
Cardinals are going to stick with Kyler Murray in 2024, which shouldn't have been much of a discussion. And then
shocking.
So in the Chicago media, everything is now around this. What are the Bears going to do with Fields? And we're going to hear it all offseason until they actually make a decision. You can put me in the camp the way things have gone the last 5 weeks, 7 weeks. Yeah, I think they're like 5-2 in the last 7 or something like that. And since that 4-game, they're 2 games over 500 since that 4-game losing skid to start the season. I think I'm in the camp of ride with Fields for another year now.
I don't think there's a wrong answer, which I think it's the right answer. There's good narratives for both. I think it leads. I think with them keeping Eberflus, I think it leads to them keeping Fields. It's just the fact that you traded the 101 last year. You have a a second chance at it. And I actually don't think the third year, resetting the rookie contracts actually even a part of this. I bet you the team doesn't really fucking care. Like they can also just, trade the pick and take a quarterback with whatever pick they trade down with. Like there's just because they trade down doesn't mean they're not drafting a quarterback if they wanted
Yeah.
to go that route.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
this is a very good class. This is supposed to be a very strong class again, and
yeah.
we'll see.
And the Fields improvements are notable, right? Interception rates down by a full percentage point. The offense is moving considerably better. 38.2% success on third down. That's a 2 percentage point raise. Or I think that's well, it's a passing success rate. Anyway, I won't go into that.
Yeah, but he still has like 41 turnovers in 39 games. So yeah, he's improved this season on his turnovers, but he still has more turnovers overall than he has played in actual NFL games.
I mean, sure.
I just want to be the other guy that goes against Fields.
No,
here.
I think it's a good idea
You
to have
can,
because
but
that's been the discourse
yeah.
the last
it is. I'm
fucking month, 2 months.
zooming in on this year though, because progression
Especially like
is
his actual NFL
linear, right? His fumbles are down by quite a bit.
Yeah, for the season.
Well, that's what I mean. On the season, everything's down and
he
better
definitely improved.
because
I'm not gonna lie.
because the sack rate's down by 6%. So, and that's the DJ Moore effect. But yards per attempt is up, and that's what you're looking to see this year, right? We knew last year that he was holding the ball too long, he was scrambling too long, he was trying too hard to make things happen. He needed to see things, wasn't anticipating well, was taking a lot of sacks. The more you get sacked, the more you're going to fumble. The more you're under pressure, the more you're going to make bad reads and bad decisions in the turnover department. That is corrected this year, to a degree. And I think really since he was out with an injury and got to watch Bajent play, that this is not lost on me either. I think that's corrected. Because that's the one thing Bajent was good at. And he said in interviews, like, hey, I'm going to take away what I saw in his game and try to implement it into mine because I got to watch what he did well. And ever since he's came back, it feels like he's been more decisive, more selective about when he tries to create, more selective about when he decides to take off, and a bit more timed up. And that's probably a combination of, one, seeing it done in the offense, and two, just having another year in the offense, having some consistency and getting to set in. And three, DJ Moore.
Yeah, for sure. DJ Moore's been stellar for him. But 10-27 overall as an NFL starting quarterback.
A bad
and
record.
I get it. Yeah, he didn't have a good supporting cast around him.
Didn't have a good coaching staff to start.
Right.
Yeah.
And this coaching staff is not the coaching staff that also drafted him either.
No. And that's, yeah, it's not the coaching staff.
This coaching staff's also on hot water too. Like it's not like Flus was a popular can candidate up until this winning streak or this stretch of wins.
Yeah.
He feels really. I mean, like even box score scouting, he hasn't been particularly great. It's just the team's been more competitive, right? The quarterback position isn't just throwing the football. It's like your job is to, progress the downs. Like your job is to get a first down. Your job is to lead the team down and score in position and hopefully score a touchdown. The team scoring more points. The offense has been more fluid.
The defense got
for
healthy.
sure, and that may also be a part to too is that he's getting healthier.
Well, the defense.
I think
got
what we're
healthy.
seeing is that too, and
got a pass rush.
It's
yeah, and he also has like traits that you can't teach.
Yeah, he's basically going through, rookie season Josh Allen, rookie season as early parts of their career Cam Newton, and Lamar Jackson. Like there's definitely like you are seeing shades of other players in his game in terms of that, and you see wild throws. It's just if they don't draft a court like there's just so much narratives that you can paint with this that like I said there isn't a right or wrong answer.
You
It's
have to
just
decide if you're
they're
upgrading. Are you
yeah
upgrading, or do you get more out of this by moving down, or by going a different route? I don't think then that's what they have to assess, right? I don't know that like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be in the first few picks, but can they trade down and still get him becomes a question, I think. And do they need to, right? I mean, that's the pipe dream. That's what everybody wants to see happen, but is wide receiver their biggest, or do they have to get a stud wide receiver having DJ Moore?
Yeah, they already have a stud wide
they need
receiver.
a number two.
They need a number two.
No, it's not that they need a stud. They literally need
a number two.
Another
they
receiver.
need somebody else.
A true number two.
There's
because Komet's had a great year.
There's one receiver on that Bears team that should be in the NFL. The rest of them should be gone.
Yeah,
and that is including Mooney, who's had this horrible year.
Horrible last 2 years.
Like you don't have to look at stats. He just looks terrible.
Yeah. But I mean, look how these NFL teams are even drafting too. I mean, look at like Cincinnati. They took T. Higgins 1 year and then Jamar Chase, top 5 pick the following
next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the next year.
So it's like this transition of these teams going from, I mean, even like Atlanta, Kyle Pitts, Drake London.
Yeah, but
these teams spending the top picks on these wide receivers or these top end pass catchers.
So forgetting Atlanta for a second because they've done nothing with it. The Bengals didn't have the athleticism at the quarterback position in Burrow or the style of play with Burrow that the Bears have with Fields. Lamar Jackson is the best comparison to this, and the Ravens notoriously, they got Zay Flowers relatively early, and they got Bateman
first round pick.
What was first round pick? But late, right?
Marquise Brown was the first round pick. Yeah, they're all
the Vikings,
20s.
And that's what I mean. Like
the Vikings,
you need a first round wide receiver, good, but does it have to be the best wide receiver in the first round?
No, it doesn't have to be. But he's also claimed as being this one generational talent compared to Kelvin Johnson.
I've heard the same thing about Napers too. Like we know just the one consensus that I've seen thrown around in the very early process of this is that there is a style of wide receiver for literally everyone's preference and high end style of that. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna have your bigger body outside. You have your alpha, like your new alpha builds. Like there are good receivers in every mode. Your speeds, your slots, your literally everything has it. Like of good notes too. So.
And that's what I'm saying. If can they keep churning that first round, that number 1 overall pick? Can they do it again and keep swinging some sustained draft capital that way?
And it will also depend on the market value for Justin Fields. Like,
yeah,
it's not going to obviously
worth
because they're trading
worth
something.
The same amount as the number 1. Yeah, he's not on this team if they take a quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
he could be.
Are they trading Fields?
Decision too, but
yeah, and that's gonna be a story all off season. Are they trading Fields and getting the draft capital on that, or are they going to trade the 101 and get the draft capital on that and roll with Fields? And if so, then you got to plan on: are you extending Fields?
I mean, they may go the Detroit Lions mold and just worry about the quarterback of the future later.
Yeah, I mean,
until they had a chance to get a quarterback of the future and then they fumbled it, but that's okay.
No, because they had Jared Goff. They didn't need one. But
they I will always be on this narrative. They should have this past draft, but
need a quarterback of the future when your quarterback of now is not even.
It's Jared Goff who got traded from the team that drafted him.
His nickname's Mr. Perfect, and he's not even 30 yet.
Hey, we have Hendon Hooker. Don't worry, we're good.
They didn't have a need.
I would have loved to see how he would have gone if he didn't tear his ACL.
Me too.
Hooker?
He was having such a good fucking year.
He's practicing again now.
Yeah, I'm
So-
saying like how high of a draft pick would he have been had he not gotten
Oh,
hurt?
he was going to be borderline like end of the first, beginning of the second.
I was
He's gonna
seeing
be
him
that
mocked
early.
to Minnesota. Yeah, I was seeing him mocked to
Yeah.
Minnesota a lot.
But like I'm looking at like Tankathon right now, and you have Washington for sure is probably going to take a quarterback because they were tried mentioning Sam Howell.
Well, teams
Then
are
it
trading
worked.
up.
They
Yeah,
are.
teams are moving up.
And that's
Who's-
it.
Yeah,
Who's that pick 2? Who's supposed to be
Washington.
Washington? Okay.
Washington.
New England's at pick 3.
Yeah.
Arizona's at 4.
I see New England trying to move up. If things end today, I also see Minnesota is going to be. I think they're going to be very heavy-handed
You got
and
so
moving
like
up.
quarterback
I think they're moving
teams.
up for a quarterback this year. So
So you have Washington at 2, New England at 3. We could say the Giants at 5 because they
Yep.
overpaid. Atlanta at 9. Vegas at 11.
Minnesota's 12th right now.
Yeah, 12th.
I think their best chance of moving up is pick 7. I think is their highest potential.
Well, and that's
I think.
that's just it. If you're the Giants, if you're the Falcons,
Well, there's good quarterbacks in
you
this,
try
in this
to
class right now too. Looking at it,
you try to jump though, and
I mean, look at last year. You had the Panthers move up from 9.
Yeah.
In a class that was considered to be top heavy again, too. Like, there's a lot of arguments between Young Stroud and then with the rise of Richardson after the combine. Like, this class obviously they have a little bit bigger names in
Ooh.
terms of what they've been waiting for. But
I forgot about that. The Bears have a 5th-year option decision on Fields too.
Yep.
This
he's
offseason.
entering their 4th. Him and Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think Lawrence is the only one that's going to be on his original team. I am on the side of the Bears are going to trade Fields.
I'm on the other side.
I think, yeah, I think the pressure of passing up
Did we
on the
flip-flop?
first overall pick again is going to be way too high from like the ownership, like to pass up and like
I don't
teams-
think so.
yeah,
I mean,
people are
especially
obsessed with Caleb Williams too.
Especially
The
if they,
obsession with him is
I'm
high.
not.
No,
No, I'm
I'm
just
not
I'm just
either.
saying in general. I'm just
I
saying in
feel like-
general, like
I like Drake May better, to be honest.
and if the Bears beat the Packers,
I still think Caleb is high as upside.
if the Bears beat the Packers after the "We Want Fields" chant at Soldier Field last week, I don't know that the ownership is going to be feeling the pressure to do
Yeah.
anything about that.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Because
like
the feel-good vibes among the fan base are going to be so good, it's not going to be coming from them.
the teammate part of it. Oh my God, it's gonna be. What if they draft a quarterback? Not at 1, but what if they draft one at like with
9,
their second pick in the first round?
9 or 10. Well,
Or if they
depending
trade
where-
back and they take it with one of those picks as this insurance thing. Like, I agree with you, Hopper, too. Like, the locker room, the team absolutely fucking loves Justin Fields. I mean, I love Justin Fields. I would love to see him get traded to Minnesota, but that's not gonna happen.
I mean, people are projecting him to go to Atlanta. Like that's the team I keep hearing that.
That's every
It's
fucking yeah. It's
Because
either them
Roddy
or
White
Washington
tweeted
now,
about it.
potentially.
That's
Yeah.
why.
It's he's been a rumored spot. I think I think Atlanta's a part of every QB trade rumor spot. I mean,
They're going to be part of every trade
You know,
rumor and every trade-up rumor. And, yeah, I
Minnesota's going to trade up. I'm calling that, especially if they lose to Detroit and they get a top 10 pick. Quest is going to move up for Drake May
so
I wouldn't mind
or
that.
Jaden Daniels.
I-
I would
I-
love.
yeah.
I would fucking love that, dude.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, those two with. Oh my god, that offense would be electric.
He scouted May. There's been a lot of But anyways, we have all offseason to talk about.
that's what I was going to
Yes.
say. We can debate that. I wanted to get the initial takes out there. We can debate that all off season. Let's go ahead and check in on our playoff races, shall we?
Let's do it. I've been looking forward to this part.
All right, cool. How are we looking? Well,
Miami Buffalo definitely looks a lot more
Yeah,
intriguing.
see, this is what I'm talking about.
That's the only
guys.
reason why Ryan wanted to talk about it is because he wanted to bring up Miami
I thought you
Buffalo
were saying,
again.
I thought you were going to say that one for last, but okay, let's go there.
No,
Let's
I
dance.
mean,
No.
you don't have to. I brought it up. Hopper is the leader of this.
yeah, I will save that for last, and we'll go with the NFC first. So,
Okay.
Aw.
Smart.
Thanks, Dan.
yeah, we'll go with the NFC
You
first.
got to say the best for last. You got to keep the listeners listening, Ryan.
All right.
Thanks, Mom.
All 3 of them.
So
Thanks, moms.
in the NFC, we'll start in the West. Niners obviously clinched a bye. We've already talked about that.
Has
Yeah,
the
the
Rams
Rams.
clinched the playoff spot, right?
Rams have clinched.
Has the Rams clinched the playoff?
They have.
Okay.
The Rams have clinched a playoff spot.
I pull up the standings. I know.
Yeah, Rams are a wild card.
Yep. Okay.
I thought I had at one site. With
I have the standings up.
Well, I got the standings.
Cowboys
I got
and Eagles.
scenarios, and I
Okay.
got another site with other shit. So, yes, there's one spot other than position jockeying. There's one spot open in the NFC, two spots open in the AFC. Cowboys and the Eagles. So Niners are locked in as winning the NFC West and into the 1 seed. Cowboys and Eagles are, I think, position jockeying still.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both
Yes.
11 and
So
5.
they're both 11 and 5. So that comes down to this week. Whoever doesn't win that is going to be the 5 seed. So, looking at matchups this week, Cowboys Eagles. The Eagles have the Giants, and the Cowboys have the Commanders. Both winnable games. So, projecting that out, we got Dallas winning the East now.
Who has the better? I mean, it's if both teams win. Is it? The Eagles? They get in.
I think it's the
They both
Cowboys.
split their.
No, they're both going to be.
Okay,
They're both going to be in. The Cowboys have the tiebreaker. They have the same record right now.
Okay,
The Cowboys
okay.
are in first.
That was
Cowboys have the
okay.
tiebreaker. They're both guaranteed a playoff spot. Whoever doesn't win is going to be the 5 seed. So one of those teams will be the 2 seed. One of those teams will be the 5 seed.
I can't believe the Eagles lost. Oh my god. Yeah, it'll be Dallas.
A
then
nail
if
biter.
they have if they have the tiebreaker, if they both win.
I think so.
There's no way that there's no way that we thought that they were going to lose to the Cardinals, but no.
The NFL.
Also
Every game's
based on
losable.
time of when these games are at, so they're both 3:00 games. Because that may also influence. Thankfully, I think they're better about it this year than they were last year.
They didn't announce game times until after last week. That's why they're better about it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So yeah,
Smart.
They're both 325 games. So they'll be locked in at 2 and 5. At 2 and 5, probably in that order. Lions are going to be the 3 seed.
Yep.
That's decided.
Yes.
So
They can't go any lower.
what we're waiting for now is the 4 seed and then the last wild card. Let's talk about that. 4 seed's going to be the winner of the NFC South. Right now, Bucs and Saints are both at 8 and 8. The Falcons at 7 and 9. So I'm going to go through those scenarios and we can talk about it. Gotta get to the end. All right. So Tampa Bay clinches the South if they win.
If they win, that's all they need. Is
all
just
they
to win.
need to do. Tampa Bay needs to win. Tampa Bay is playing
Against the Panthers.
the Panthers.
The Panthers in Carolina.
Yep. So that's going to be the first question then. Do you project Tampa Bay winning?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do too. And that will give them the South. Atlanta, if they win and Tampa Bay loses, so if Tampa Bay were to lose and Atlanta wins, then they would clinch the South. New
It would
Orleans,
be the Saints.
the Saints clinch the South if they win
Oh,
and
because they're playing the Falcons.
they're playing
Never
the
mind.
Misread Yeah.
Yeah, I misread
So
that. I was
Tampa
the wrong
Bay-
week. I'm like, whoops.
Tampa Bay loses, then whoever wins. Yeah. If Tampa Bay loses, then whoever wins out of New Orleans, Atlanta wins the South.
What a fun division.
It'll be the Bucks.
We got Tampa
Thank
Bay.
God.
We got Tampa Bay winning.
Yeah. Yep.
It'll be the Bucks. We've been there the whole time. So let's talk wild card scenario. The teams that are still in the wild card picture, technically, are Packers, Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Falcons.
Yes.
Yeah, the Falcons
They're still
can
in
get
it.
in. So Packers, Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Falcons. Let's talk about those scenarios. So let's start.
I thought the Bears could too, but or am I wrong?
No, Bears are
The Bears
mathematically
cannot.
eliminated
They
after
are.
last week.
They're officially eliminated. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Green Bay is winning in against the Bears. They have the tiebreaker over Seattle, and Atlanta, New Orleans. No, New Orleans. Atlanta cannot get in without winning the South.
Makes sense.
So the Bucks win the South. Atlanta's eliminated. They cannot get in without winning.
Okay.
The Packers are winning in. If they don't win, there's a lot of unlikely scenarios involving ties. So they're winning in, essentially, in Bay.
Yep.
Should they lose, let's see, Minnesota needs
It opens up the
help.
door for Minnesota. They need.
Yes.
They need Seattle to
So they need to win.
lose, and Tampa
Yep.
Bay or New Orleans to lose.
And then also Green Bay. Obviously.
Yeah, which they win, then whatever. But they would need Seattle to lose and Tampa Bay to lose. Seattle to get in needs Green Bay to lose. So if Green Bay loses and Seattle wins, then Seattle's in. Let's look.
Oh man.
Seattle is
It's gonna be a cluster here.
yeah, and Seattle is playing
The Cardinals in Arizona.
Cardinals.
the Cardinals in
Yep.
Arizona.
Both of these games, both the Bears, Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals are 325 games. So they're not gonna. I mean, obviously the Vikings' fate would be sealed if they lose. Detroit's still playing for a second and 3 seed, which still is important. You know, if they have the chance at a second home game. Yeah,
They are.
Saints
They're playing to jump the. Yeah, they would need though. I think they would need help from Washington,
Who?
right? Did the Lions beat the Cowboys?
Yes.
Okay, no. So
No.
No, they
You're
lost
right,
in
they
overtime.
lost.
they lost.
That was a controversial.
So they would need the
Yeah,
it
Cowboys.
wasn't
don't
overtime.
get me-
That was
They would
it
need
was
the
not
Don't get me
Cowboys.
started on that again.
They would need the Cowboys to lose to the Commanders, and they would need to
So you're
win
saying there's a
to do
chance.
that. So I'm saying they're the 3 seed. That
Yeah.
7th spot. Green Bay's got Chicago. I'm gonna go ahead and call
Chicago's got nothing to play for.
Chicago's got everything to play for. Keeping the Packers out of the playoffs.
Yeah, this is like
You don't
Detroit
think
last
that
year,
matters?
all over again.
You don't think that matters to them?
Oh, it does, yeah.
That matters
for-
a fuckload to them.
Yeah,
especially when it's an individual rivalry.
this is Detroit like last year when they fucked up the scheduling and made that game meaningless by the time it started for Detroit.
So let's call that.
This-
Let's call that one first because that matters. Because Green Bay is winning in. Who do you got? Green Bay or Chicago?
In Green Bay,
In Green Bay,
both teams are playing very well,
Fields and Eberflus
Well,
basically
as well as they can play.
potentially playing for their jobs.
I'm going Chicago. It's A, because I want Green Bay to lose, and B, because I
I mean, it's a toss up. It's a hard one to look at.
it really is.
I'm also going
with that-
Chicago with the streak they're on, the vibes around that team, and Fields and Fluce playing for this one signature win, carry them into next year. Like, best case
It's gonna be.
scenario, I'm gonna try to
yeah.
forecast that into existence. I'm saying Chicago wins.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
one of those things where, oh my god, win it in.
I'm going the Packers on this one.
This is gonna be huge for Matt LaFleur. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally like, all right, you can't have my name be alongside Aaron Rodgers anymore. Like, I won
No.
without him. And I will give my props to Jordan Love playing farly above expectations and what most people said him.
I agree.
I'm going Chicago for the chaos, but
All the props to Jordan Love. Now, I don't think the chaos is that much because I would totally take Seattle. The next scenario falls is does Seattle beat the Cardinals?
I'm thinking
Cardinals are looking legit.
I think Cardinals are like Seattle is very much up and down, and Arizona same also has a lot to play for too, in terms of what the future, what they want that to look like.
You going
I
Arizona?
think they win. I'm going Arizona at home. They want to continue to play strong, post Kyler Murray's return, which they have played strong since. That game's going to be very competitive for sure.
Ryan, what do you
And
think?
if it looks like Green Bay is going to beat them, Seattle has just no reason to try to win that game. So there's again, I'm going Cardinals. I'm not going to go tinfoil hat. I'm going
Well,
Cardinals.
it only matters if Green Bay isn't spanking the shit.
Yeah. And then they may start resting players. I won't say for draft slot, but for draft slot. But I'm still going Arizona.
Okay.
I'll go the Seahawks. Just because the way they've been playing lately, I don't want to see them in the playoffs. Just because I feel like this would be the year where the Seahawks get hot, and I don't want them to get hot. But
I would say
they
that
can't.
more last year because I thought they were playing a lot better last year. Going
Yeah,
into
but it
the
seems
playoffs and this year.
a switch always flips out with them when they get into the playoffs, and they actually have
That's
competitive games.
that's how I feel about
that's
the
what I hate.
Rams. The Rams are going to be a
Yeah,
very
the
difficult
Rams are
team
going to be
play in the
hard to beat.
playoffs. They're
They
going to
got
be
a lot of guys capable of big performances, and their defense always plays better in the playoffs.
and they may catch. They're going to catch either the Bucks or the Lions. Because if we're all fairly certain that Dallas beats Washington.
All right. I'm going Arizona in that one. I am again riding momentum on this and playing spoiler to a division rival. I'm going Arizona.
I think these two teams are actually pretty close
for the chaos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also for the chaos.
So then it falls to Vikings Lions, which will be decided by this point in time. By the afternoon game.
Vikings have a lot of injuries. They're not winning.
Yeah, I think it's the Lions. It's the
Most
Lions
of their
game.
O-lines now also has not practiced all week.
Yeah,
both their tackles are hurt.
I think it's the Lions too. So, what just happened there with the New Orleans loss, the Seattle loss, and Minnesota losing is Green Bay's in, even if they lose. That's what you just went to, Dan. Is it?
No matter what, Green Bay finds a way to get in.
All right, so we just talked ourselves to Green Bay's in, and if they're not, it's likely Seattle. So we're calling Green Bay as the 7th seed. I think is where we just
they can get their fucking ass stomped by Tampa Bay. I mean, I just want to see Tampa Bay win and then win that home game so the South isn't such a joke.
Especially with Baker Mayfield. Thank God.
Yeah, no. I just wish they would have won this week.
All right.
Just would have beaten New Orleans.
We've talked ourselves into Green Bay for the 7th seed.
Okay.
Not by choice.
Logicked ourselves into
on accident.
Yeah.
On accident, Hopper. It was on accident. We weren't planning for this.
Yeah, we never planned for it. All right, AFC. Ravens, Chiefs, Browns all locked into the playoffs. Browns will be playing, or I think they're seeding stuff to still work itself
they're
out
seeding.
there. But Ravens, Chiefs, Browns all locked in. So Ravens win the North. Dolphins are currently first in the AFC East, but not.
Yeah, they're 11-5. Bills are 10-6.
But not guaranteed to win the AFC East.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're not locked into the T seed. And then Chiefs are locked into the AFC West. Browns are locked into a wild card spot. All right, let's break this down. Let's start. You want to start with Miami and Buffalo, or do you want to start in the South? For that
Start in the South. Let's work our way up.
South is like the better shit show of these South divisions.
The South is indeed a shit show. So let's talk about the South, because I was looking at this earlier and my eyes were rolling. All right.
Yeah, a lot.
Let's start with who's winning it. Indy clinches a playoff berth with a win, but we're talking the division here, so let's talk the division. So Jacksonville.
So it should be the Jaguars based on how the standings look.
Yeah, Jacksonville wins and they get the division. Lawrence is playing. It looks like, obviously, they've got the Titans. You have Jacksonville beating Tennessee.
I hope.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's the hard one right there. It's like you hope, but the Titans
Titans
are been playing like competitive games.
50-50. I think Levis hasn't been cleared. Like, there's been no call on Levis yet.
Right.
Oh, I take that back. Never mind.
It
After
should
last
be-
week, it was 26-3 last week. So
It should be Jacksonville should win this, but I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars beating the Titans.
You too, Ryan?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Court talk. That would put Jacksonville proceed. Because Jacksonville is win and win the division, basically.
Oh God, then they got a matchup against the Browns.
Yeah. So,
Oofta.
so Jacksonville's win and win the division. From there, we'll talk wild cards in a second. Let's go ahead and talk.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and talk at Buffalo, Miami. Basically, it breaks down like this: Miami wins, they win the division. Miami wins, they win the division. They lose, they still have a wild card spot.
Yep.
Yeah. They go from the 2 to the 6.
Waddle's not really practicing. Mostert's not really practicing. Potentially no Tyreek either. Who was in a walking boot when his house got fired. By the way, prayers up for that. So Miami wins and they're in. Buffalo wins, they win the East. Miami's in regardless. Buffalo wins, they win the East. Buffalo loses, then they need Pittsburgh or Jacksonville to get in.
Jacksonville we talked that's Titans, and the Steelers are playing the Ravens against their backups.
Against backups. Yep.
Which
Yes,
last
and
time
Brad-
this happened, they lost to the backups. So
and it's but
Not
it's also Brad
guaranteed.
Allen's crew, who's been making bad calls, as Copper and I have been talking earlier before
the
he came
fact
on.
that we have to worry and look at
the referee
at the
crew.
ref crew because the fucking NFL cannot solve or have a plan in place to keep this problem from happening.
Yep. All right. So who's winning Miami Buffalo?
In Buffalo, right?
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
I got Buffalo.
Or no, I'm sorry, in Miami. It's in Miami.
In Miami. Okay. I still got Buffalo with all the injuries. I don't think
Yeah.
they're in regardless. I don't know that they're rushing the guys that their team revolves around back to play this game when they're in regardless.
Well, and Miami
They're
also
gonna
lost
be-
Bradley Chubb too to
Yeah.
torn
Yeah,
ACL.
also
ACL.
their tornado. That's a huge loss to the defense. Buffalo's everything to play for, as Hopper mentioned. Win it in, lose, and you need help to get into a wild card. Miami auto in no matter what. Obviously, home game and 2 seed, which is still very important, or be the 5th or 6th seed, right? Because we don't know about the seeding there if the Browns win.
Right.
They'll both be. I'm sorry, if the Browns lose, they'll both be 11-6.
Which, yeah.
They're playing the Bengals, yeah, but I'm gonna go with the home team.
You're going Miami?
I want to go with the Buffalo can't make up from the sluggish midseason. Miami wins.
Ryan, who do you got?
Buffalo. I've always been on Buffalo.
All right, I'm on Buffalo.
Yeah, I've always been on Buffalo. That's true.
So I'm on Buffalo. That would put Miami in. That leaves the one wild card spot open, with both Buffalo and Miami getting. So let's see what that falls.
I think it's a Texans and Colts game. I think
No, Pittsburgh.
Texas Colts and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you got Texans, Colts, Pittsburgh that can fall down to. So Pittsburgh wins, and they're in with a Buffalo loss. So Dan's scenario plays out. Pittsburgh beats the Ravens backups. They're in. if Dan's scenario plays out. But that is only with a Buffalo loss. I'm gonna assume, since we're going majority rules here. So
Yeah.
that says Buffalo wins. That would eliminate Pittsburgh if Buffalo wins.
Okay, so and their game will be
Okay.
played. Obviously, they're the first game this week,
Right.
first Saturday game.
So if Indianapolis beats Houston, they're in.
I think Baltimore beats them anyways.
Yeah.
Fuck Pittsburgh.
So if Indianapolis beats Houston, they're in. If Indy were to lose, how does that work out?
Which is Houston's. If Houston wins, then they're in.
Yeah, but they would need the Jags, Houston win, Jacksonville loss, Pittsburgh loss, or tie with a playoff berth. I don't think it's see, this is where my eyes started to roll, right? So we're in a scenario where Buffalo wins, and you've got Indy and Houston playing each other, right? Indy's in with a win, but if Indy loses, that would mean Houston wins, but they're only in. That's got to be
need help?
wrong. Well, the Houston can clinch a playoff berth. Houston win, Jacksonville loss or tie, or Pittsburgh loss or tie. But if Jacksonville doesn't lose, they win the division. So
Tiebreakers, man.
well,
We know the ABC was always going to be fucky too.
that's where I think it's Houston. I think that's wrong because there's no scenario that I can find here.
I mean, tiebreakers.
'Cause Houston's
beyond.
Because Houston's playing Indy, right?
Yeah. Yep. The second Saturday game.
Yeah. So Houston's playing Indy in the second Saturday game, which would be an Indy loss, not a win. So Indy wouldn't be in. They're only in if they win. Houston. Miami's in regardless. Buffalo's in the division. Jacksonville wins. They win the division. But Pittsburgh can't get in because the Pittsburgh playoff scenarios are a Buffalo loss, which doesn't happen in what we played out. A Jacksonville loss doesn't happen played out. A Houston-Indy tie. A Jacksonville loss, a Denver win. Houston and Indy non-ending tie. I think it's
Strength
Houston.
of schedule may also be. I think strength
I-
of schedule may also
I
play
think
in this too now.
I think it's Houston. I think they got this fucked up to where, or they missed a scenario that we're playing out here. I think it's Houston.
I agree.
I think it comes down to Indy, Houston, and whoever wins that is in a scenario where Pittsburgh loses. Because if Pittsburgh loses, I think that gives Indy the better record. Pittsburgh loses, they'd be 9-8. Yeah, it would give Indy or Houston the better record than Pittsburgh, whoever wins. So it's Houston in that scenario. So who do you got winning out of the Colts and Texans? That's essentially what that
Houston.
comes down to. I've got
Yeah,
Houston
give me the
winning.
Texans.
I've got Houston winning.
Yeah.
Sweep it.
It's in Indy. It's in Indy, but I think it's just a story.
No, I'm with Houston on that. So we got Green Bay and the Bucks rounding out the NFC playoff field. We've got Buffalo and Houston rounding out the AFC playoff field.
I think it's crazy that it's Buffalo, Miami Sunday night. I was not aware that they were going to do Sunday night.
I think
They
they
should all kept them at
normally
3:00. This is the first time they've done Sunday night the last week of the season in a long time.
do. I don't
It's
think,
well worth it.
yeah, I don't think it changes the consensus on that at all, though. It's because it's win the division, and you're the 2 seed.
Yeah, it's important to.
I don't think it
Well, right, like it's
because there's no scenario where either team's eliminated when you get to that. The Bills could
yeah
just
because
have,
KC's locked in. It's because KC's locked into the 3 seed.
right. So there's no scenario that impacts this game, which I think is why they were able to do it. because there's no scenario where either team's eliminated by the time you get to this game because the Bills control their own destiny. They just could have more to play for because they could be losing out.
It's going to be a lot of it's
Yeah.
that of their money. This is all eyes on this game to see who wins AFC East and has the second seed.
Yeah. Well, and Colts Texans, I'm surprised they put that on Saturday, right? Because you need to know the outcome of the Jacksonville game to know how that plays. But I guess because Jacksonville still needs to win the division and not lose it to whichever one of those teams win.
There should be no Saturday games.
No,
I think
there shouldn't be.
This is fucking stupid to have 2 days worth of final week with so much, playoffs at stake here.
And you got two.
They all should be played at Sunday. I would have been on board with every game's at fucking noon, which I think it should be the case. And
that'd be fun.
And there is no like wait and see. Is you have to play your fucking ass off no matter what if you have to. Like, make adjustments if you may, but to have more games be competitive potentially, these all should be played at noon. But again, that's not good for money. That's not good for viewerships when you have those many games at the same time. Whatever, NFL.
Pittsburgh is on Saturday too, right?
Yep, they're the
Yes.
3:30, and then you have the Houston Colts.
Yeah,
at
I
7.
don't think there's anything that changes what another team does in the way that they've got this lined off. Because Jacksonville still gotta win, right? Because if they don't, and it's not likely that 2 games are gonna end in a tie. If Jacksonville doesn't win, then they're going into that having to win. There's nothing that says that Jacksonville can rest players based on what happens in that game.
And the Texas and Colts games is affected by the Steelers and Ravens outcome.
And the Jacksonville
because whoever
outcome
wins that,
too, because of Jacksonville,
whoever wins that,
then whoever wins the division.
I still think they should all be played at the same time, but
I do too. But at least they did it.
they're doing whatever they want to make as much money as they can.
And at least
it's all optimization on viewership.
Yeah, and they did it in a way that doesn't severely fuck anything.
A lot better than last year. The fact that they allowed themselves to be very flexible in week 18, to an extent. Again, this is why I have an issue with 2 days, because now, the Texans, Colts, and Steelers are all playing on one less day. And they also, those winners of those games also get an extra day of rest.
Yeah, no, that I think is the bigger issue.
Why, it's been fine to have the last week of the season all be played on the same day.
Right.
I don't understand the change. It doesn't make sense.
Money making. That's all they care about. They care about making
money.
That's all
it's the NFL. They want to maximize viewership.
Yep.
Yep.
There's no college football on Saturday, so they're gonna take advantage of it.
It's why we had Black Friday games this year. It's why we had it's stupid. But
anyway, beer. What are you drinking, Dan?
Oh yeah, I am. I thought we were doing the
We are.
the Fuelies. Are we still?
Yeah.
Okay, we are.
Second part of the episode.
I have.
I got one.
Surely Darkness.
You should have coordinated with me. I got one of those upstairs. I would have drank it with you.
No, it's okay. I mean, you can still get it. It's not like it's gonna be bad. A little warmer. This is a Parker's Heritage. So this is Surly Darkness barrel aged. This is aged in the Parker's Heritage heavy charred barrel for 15 months. I'm sorry, 15-year heavy charred barrel.
Perfect. Yeah.
Surly Darkness. No adjuncts added.
Beer review.
Mouthful.
All right, Dan, what do you think about that? Surly Darkness.
It's boozy.
Hold on.
I'm getting a little maple.
Remind the people what you're drinking.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm drinking Surly Darkness.
God,
this variant is a 15-year heavy charred barrel from
it's like you've never done
Parker
one
Heritage
of these before.
Yeah, no shit. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty good in the alcohol department. It's drinks like an imperial stout that's aged in bourbon barrels. A little more maple, a little more sweeter on that end for that set. You get some of you're gonna get some of the toffee and the barrel characteristics that are coming through in here, alongside the imperial stout base of darkness. Um, Again, if you like barrel aged beers, is a great representation of it, and the fact that there's no adjuncts in it just allows the beer to kind of just be what it is instead of having some weird profile.
All right, my turn.
Sounds really good.
I was in Springfield last weekend, so I've got some art history.
Okay.
I've got their Yorkshire style best bitter. Um, well, best bitter. Overall, I think this is it's pretty well done. Got a light kind of bready malt character to it. Definitely has kind of traditional like British hop character showing up. It's drying. It's light ABV. A little earthy. On the hops. I mean, nothing. It's very very well balanced and very very crushable. I don't know. I mean, it's exactly what I want to pick up when I pick up a best bitter. It's very very well executed and very very well done. So don't see a lot of that style floating around the states from craft brewers, and very very happy with this. Excited to the next couple of times I'm up, grab more of their stuff and try their Vienna, their Helles, and a few of their other releases.
Mm-hmm.
It hits the right notes.
And I am drinking Yingling's traditional lager from the oldest American brewery. And the way it is, it's a nice amber ale, easily smashable all year long. It doesn't matter if it's hot, cold outside. You can take these anywhere, drink them anywhere. The amber flavor is good, and I only like it because it's a beer I can't get here in Michigan. Like I said earlier in the episode. And once that's available here, then I'll lose my hype in it, but I'll probably still drink it for sure.
Oddly
'Cause, I mean,
enough, once G Lane hit Missouri, I thought it would be the same thing and slow down.
it
It's
took off.
it's still dominated. It's actually because they couldn't keep up with the demand of the Missouri market. So Lane's kind of I won't say is in short regard because you can get it pretty much any time, but a lot of their a lot of their non-regular stuff runs out very quickly.
Oh yeah,
Apparently, from what I've seen.
like their black and tan. Oh, I love the black and tan. They have really good Oktoberfest too. I gotta get that.
You would
Yes.
hate this beer, Dan, but it gets better every time I drink it.
That the Roush.
My smoked Dunkelweizen.
Okay.
Like the third time I poured this, I know. Thanks, Dovetail. My God, story time. I had the Roush Doppelbock while I was up there, and I'm like, all right, what else could I smoke? And I'm like, yeah, Dunkelweizen. That might be.
Yeah. I love Dunkels.
Got a Munich Dunkel on draft too. It's pretty good.
Ooh, tasty.
And a black IPL that I'm about to keg after
Ooh,
after this show, actually.
black
Nice.
Indian Pale Lager.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
not even actual style. I got something fun next week too. Little teaser for next week. I got something fun coming. I got a pastrami beer coming out coming for next week.
Pastrami beer?
Pastrami beer.
All right.
Benny's has them if you want to join in on the fun, but only in 4-packs. And I tell you right now, one's fine, but you probably don't want 4 of them.
I don't even know if I want one. It sounds. I
It
mean,
sounds
I
like
would
something you
want
need to
one
drink.
just to have for the show, but I definitely don't want more than one.
Yeah.
I thought I'd chase it down with potato chips.
Stay tuned next week.
That's right.
Beer fueled Fuelies.
Be honest with y'all, didn't think the first part of the show was going to take an hour, but here we are. All right. Same thing as last year. We didn't pre-do any of this, so we're just gonna do it live, and we'll try to come to a consensus. And let's start with your fantasy football MVP, your player of the year.
Is that like anonymous? Because I feel like everyone's gonna say the same thing.
No, that's not
Eh.
anonymous. We can just go for it. Who do you got? Who do you got, Ryan?
Christian McCaffrey.
That's where I'm at.
That's
CMC.
yeah.
Healthy all
The
year.
gap between
Yeah.
it's the gap between RB1 RB2, which is absolutely fucking insane. It's over 100 points. Is
Yeah.
It's like
the
how
fact that
Travis
he got
Kelce was last
hurt.
year.
The fact that he got hurt, which makes me like I didn't lose my matchups with him in it, but
That's because he had 14 points by the time he got hurt. He got like,
yeah. Which is
and it's not like he got hurt
a
late.
down week for him.
Yeah.
Week for him.
Well, Elijah Mitchell came in and got another 86 yards and a touchdown. Like
Fucking
the
stupid.
thing with McCaffrey getting hurt is that alone did not kill you if that's what happened. But
he didn't very much help you get there.
No, but you're right. The gap was insane. Who was the RB2?
Oh man, let's guess.
I'm looking right now.
I got Kyron. No, Kyron missed too much time.
He would have been probably
Raheem
number
Mostert.
2 in points per game. Is it Mostert?
I think it's
Mostert.
And that's a non-PPR.
With a large enough gap like that, it could be anybody just because of they probably missed time. Or was it Rashad White?
Yeah,
No,
I'm
White-
looking
He had a
at
bad championship, but he was the RB3, I think,
White,
going into
White,
last week. In terms of
White
points.
ended up as the 5, I think, because I looked at it earlier this week.
Okay.
Yeah, it all depends on scoring sense. If you look at
Is it
some
Tony
scoring.
Pollard?
PPR.
I have Travis
Kidding.
Etienne as 2.
Yeah, that's
Is
what
it Etienne?
I was thinking. Etienne as well, and I had McCaffrey and Etienne on the same team. So
And Mostert was like right on his tail too. He was within a point from what I'm seeing.
yeah,
And Etienne didn't miss games. He just had bad stretches because Jacksonville was playing
bad.
poorly.
He had a bad stretch, especially during the playoffs, and then rebounded last week.
Rebounded.
with
He
two
had a
touchdowns.
fucking monster last week.
That's actually what
Help
Help me win a championship.
Help me win a
Exactly. Yeah,
championship.
hey, whatever it takes.
Help me too. So player of the year,
Upper took down the heel,
I did
Upper
take
down the
I
heel
did
of that
take
league.
down the heel of that league, and
which is beautiful to say because that person hates wrestling. So
And
it makes it even better.
now
to
have you
say.
noticed that person has not said a fucking thing either?
Yeah,
Since
because he probably deleted the fucking chat thread.
I took him down. Has not said a damn word. Not
because
congratulations, not good
yeah.
matchup, not a damn.
Has his
thing.
brother said something in the chat?
His brother congratulated me. But,
Okay.
And his
I don't have
posted,
all
like,
the names
TikToks
saved, so I
and
don't know
stuff,
who's
but
who. Yeah,
Jason ain't said a damn thing.
because he probably deleted the chat thread and it's gone. For
I
good.
even intentionally didn't gloat, so I didn't hurt his feelings.
Hey,
I
and
do
then-
love the kneel down. The kneel down gif was perfect. That was like classy, but also very sassy.
It was well,
I was like, I appreciate this is fucking perfect. Actually, it just pisses him off.
But I waited until it was over too. After I got another,
That's when you would kneel down. Is when the game's over.
right?
Yeah, you're just kneeling out
I mean,
the
I
rest of the
could have kneeled
points.
it out before the night game because I didn't need that extra 30 points. But damn it, I got him anyway. From Jaden
Man,
Reed.
I was
But-
sweating. I was sweating bullets in that night game. I was very conflicted. I'm like, I was up 25 points against Jefferson and Aaron Jones, and I had Tyler Kraft left.
after
I was like, I'm gonna lose this game. Like, but
after Harrison Butker kicked 25 and made up my deficit and gave me a 10-point lead by
that was
the end
beautiful.
of the 3 o'clock games, I was just kind of like, all right, cool.
was
I thought this was
beautiful.
going to come down to Jaden Reed, and now it's not. So, and
Harrison
then
Butker was my
Anyway,
my
he had a
MVP.
great game.
I didn't want him to have excuses, was the reason. I didn't want to be like, oh, I only lost because Higgins got hurt. So,
Well, he can't have any excuses. He hasn't fucking said anything. Like at this point, he's probably waiting to see if his Dolphins even win the division after talking shit all year about that.
yeah. All right.
But hey, I was happy to acknowledge that in your Kickers Matter League that we're all in, that we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Took down the undefeated team.
With Butker.
Yeah, with Butker, I got almost 35 points out of Butker.
The week after, with me losing to that team, but outscoring you and the other guy was it all you scored you and Snow by like 50 points.
I outscored the whole league by like over 100.
Steve's
You had a dominating year.
Steve's a good dude. He really patrioted that one up, though. He's a good dude, though. Good player. Went 14-0 and
He didn't
lost
hate-
in the title game.
You should have had better halftime adjustments.
Yeah,
What I told him. All right.
that's what I told him.
You should have made sure Amari Cooper played.
Waiver pickup of the year. This could be a couple guys, but
It's Rams. It's Rams
it's a
players.
Rams player regardless.
Yes.
It's a Rams player.
Yeah. Agree.
Just
We'll
which-
just say that.
It's just
I'm gonna go
Rams
Kyron
player.
because of the dominant fucking playoff he put together and the fact that I think he only had 2 games outside of like the top 15 that week. Like it was not like
I'm gonna
that
go,
He won
discourse is
championships
going to be
last
crazy
week.
to talk
Yeah.
about. Yeah, he won a lot of people a lot of money.
I'm gonna go Kyron as well, just because I think we're gonna talk about Puka here in a minute. But
As the rookie of the year,
as the rookie of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
But
easily.
but I'm gonna go Kyron as
He's
well.
an
for the
honorable
early
mention
pickup.
for sure.
It's so hard to
Yep.
find running backs on waivers absent injury. And if you lucked into Kyron Williams, you made a good playoff run, as I did. So yeah, if you lucked into Kyron Williams, you had a good playoff run. Yeah, him getting hurt middle of the year probably hurt a bit, but when he was on the field, you're guaranteed no duds.
Yeah, he was an
He
RB
was-
one.
I think he had 2 games outside, like the
Where-
2 games he played. I think he had 2 games in which games he played that he was outside like the top 15.
Where
Like,
did he rank
was-
in points per game?
I have to imagine RB2, maybe 3 behind Mostert, but I have to imagine.
For running backs, he was number RB2. And
Yeah,
I'm
probably
looking
behind
using
McCaffrey.
CBS PPR, and he had 21.3 compared to McCaffrey's 24.5.
God, 24. Jeez. The fact that McCaffrey's still a top 5 dynasty running back also
Yeah.
makes me laugh.
Camara was
Guess who was
actually
RB3?
Camara. I'm looking at it.
Yeah. But then
In points
you
per
look at that
game?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
He got Mostert
then-
by 1/10 of a point. And Mostert
So he missed time too. That's right.
Mostert was
He
actually
was
tied
suspended
with,
for a game or 2.
Mostert was actually tied with Achan.
Isn't that crazy? What a
Fucking
time to
A
be
chance 2 fucking massive blowups in the first weeks of the
There's-
season.
A 3-point gap between McCaffrey and Kyron in PPR, and then there's a 4-point gap to the next tier, which is where it starts to go.
The Kyron Williams dynasty value discourse. I'm waiting for those to start all over social media because
Yeah.
have fun trying to figure that one out. He's like the most untradeable player that everyone wants to trade, but can't because they can't land on a value for him.
Great. All right. Next up, the draft steal of the year. So your best value of the drafts. So this isn't your waiver pickups. These are your late picks that ended up.
I mean, I could say I did draft Puka. The one league I took Puka in.
You
It was a late draft. I took him in the last round, which I happened to win. It was my 3 year. It was my league. I won 3 in a row, and 5 out of the last 6. I just wanted to do a humble break.
Yeah. Well, good humble brag, I guess. So I think
This one's tough because if you drafted after the Cooper Cup news, which
yeah.
happened before the season started, Puka was a hot. It was him and Van, right? I think those are the 2 names.
Yeah, Van
people,
Jefferson, yeah.
Yeah, it was
latched around to, but you would have had the draft pretty late into August, and it was probably 12 team plus for most people.
You could make an argument for like Pacheco or Brees because Brees was discounted. For me, it might be Nico.
Brees was discounted.
It might be Nico Collins
That's a good one too. That's a good one.
because Nico, when he was healthy, was a top 15 points per game wide receiver. 16.1 in PPR. He was right with Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, like sandwiched right between
Fucking
those
Diggs.
two.
Fuck Diggs.
And you got
Jesus
him
Christ.
a lot cheaper than those guys. I think for me, it's going to be Nico.
Nico's a good one. Mari Cooper.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because some of these players, like, we're gonna have a
Cooper-
little more recency bias with some of these. Is where like a Brees outcome, but Brees was still a top 5 round pick.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, and I'm not looking at ADP right now, but
I'm not either. I
Cooper,
don't know what.
I'm looking at ADP right now.
I'd imagine.
Okay.
I'd
I got mine locked in.
imagine that Cooper would have
But-
been drafted higher than Nico and was a point per game.
Oh yeah,
leveler.
yeah. But Cooper would have been. Yeah, I think Cooper was an 8th round. I mean, Tank Dell was on that pace before he got hurt. Ryan, what's yours? I don't know.
Raheem Mostert. He was going around. He was going after pick 100.
Oh shit! Yeah,
That's a good one.
that's
Yeah,
a-
it's a great one.
I might
You
pivot
know, and we
because I don't think
and
people.
What was
Yeah,
James
RB.
Connors? Ryan, what was James Connors? ADP.
ADP.
Also, dominant into his season.
Yeah, he was 48th overall.
Okay, nah. I thought maybe he was a little lower.
dominant into the season, but not.
He had stretches. Obviously, with the Cardinals were bad until Kyler got back.
Yeah, he's overall was the RB 28, and then when you do it by points by game per game, he was with Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. He was behind David
Yeah,
Montgomery, Saquon Barkley. I like the Mostert call. Actually, I'm going to switch off. I think if Mostert was going that low, that him ending up as the RB4 in points per game and the RB2.
How is he going? That's fucking crazy.
Because
Achane
Jeff
and
Wilson was so healthy.
and nobody thought that he was just going to dominate the work like that. And then you had the Achane injuries and the Wilson injuries, and there it is. Like, he was going super low. I remember that.
I mean, Mostert dominated even before Achane got hurt.
Yeah.
Wilson
He
was on
dominated right off
IR
the
to start
bat.
this season.
And also,
I just wonder. I
people-
wonder when Mostert went on to IR because it
also
was before the season started.
nobody predicted 21 touchdowns out of him, right?
Oh
No.
fuck no, right? Yeah,
Or
no.
200 plus
You're right.
carries, or that he'd be healthy all season until week 18.
He's LeGarrette Blunt.
So
What about Sam Laporta?
Sam,
Ooh.
Little tight end love. I'm gonna do a little tight end
Yeah.
love because we know who the rookie MVP is gonna be.
We all hate tight ends.
It's probably
Like,
still Mostert,
Sam
but I'm gonna throw a little
Laporta.
love to Sam Laporta or even Trey McBride.
oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah. Sam
McBride
McBride
was
late.
a late. I mean, rookie tight end, right? Historically, why are you drafting rookie tight ends in your redraft league? This would be the year to say. I mean, Dalton Kincaid was on that pace until Knox came back, and then he fell off the face of the earth.
did Travis Kelce
the whole-
miss time?
Missed the first week of the season.
The first week, yeah.
That's why.
And that was the only time you've missed.
That's why there's a point per game
then-
difference. No, I'm okay with giving Sam Laporta love too, because that was definitely a difference maker. If you were able to get him
Honorable mention. Sam
late round
Laporta.
tight end, I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
there's
He was a top 5 tight end every week after that.
yeah, and there's always three, right? Your three this year were Laporta, Kelsey, and Hawk. So, but Laporta nobody called. So
No, I mean, there's a lot of people. It's hard to praise rookie tight ends where historically you say different, and
yeah.
I mean he even still had to compete for touches and compete for targets as well.
You know what? I'm gonna switch off of Mostert.
Actually, I like another one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Laporta because the positional variance at tight end, if you can catch one of those elite guys late, is incredible because you don't do that, and that is such a rarity to catch a tight end that hits that elite tier that you don't project near that elite tier. It's a rookie that is performing at that level. Like, that is such a rarity, and he would have been so dirt cheap if he was even drafted.
Ryan,
Yeah.
is there any rumors of Detroit wanting to draft receiver high this year?
No.
Shouldn't be.
Okay, good.
No,
I
the
mean-
way Jameson Williams is starting to come on, I've been telling people, his stats don't show it, but the way he's playing,
And
it is coming on.
He's new Gabe Davis, Ryan. He's new Gabe Davis.
But you're fine with
No, he's not
that
like Gabe
with
Davis.
Amon-Ra playing a normal role.
That's what I'm
and
saying is
Laporta
if
being
Detroit-
good and the running
Yeah.
game that they have, like, you're totally okay with that.
Yeah.
I
Detroit,
don't
I would
want
just
them
rather-
to take a
Detroit-
receiver early.
I
That's
did-
my only thing. That's why I'm asking is
Detroit needs to just invest a shitload in defense.
they gotta find they
All
gotta invest in defense and invest in defense. So I'm just gonna stop.
All right, bad break of the year. This is gonna be injury related.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin
Yeah,
That was
Jefferson.
my
no,
first
seriously.
thought was losing Jefferson was fucking
Jefferson
the
and
pace
Chase.
that he was on, man. The pace that like he was
Dude,
AJ Brown before AJ Brown had his 150 streak
Jefferson
started.
even more so than Chase though, because Chase, even when he's been healthy, has been a little bit iffy. I mean, Joe Burrow has certainly impacted that, but
Oh yeah.
the amount of time that
I
Jefferson
mean, before
missed,
Chase got hurt, Burrow was
it-
also was trying to recover from his injury too.
and when Chase got hurt too, you might have had some cushion and some things to play with. When Jefferson got hurt, you were trying to establish position in, rankings wise
scrambling.
in fantasy football, and you were scrambling. So I'm definitely gonna go Jefferson on that one. Quarterbacks are easier to replace with like Burrow and Cousins. It's hard to replace Jefferson's productivity, and the difference between when he was on the field and when he
almost
wasn't.
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say one that's not more so for fantasy. I'm gonna give the true bad break. It's Cam Akers re-rupturing his Achilles.
Oh yeah.
That like say what you will about him as a player, like the fact that he battled back, got a second chance, then re-injured his Achilles. Gut felt bad for just felt horrible for him. Like he got a second chance,
Yeah.
and 2 games later he ruptures his Achilles again.
Yeah.
Not the same one, thankfully, but
No. And after he'd
the
already
true
been,
bad injury break
and
of the
after
year.
he'd already been cut, but still. It
Cut.
sucks.
Yeah,
Or wait.
yeah.
He
He got traded
He got
mid-season
traded
from the Rams.
mid-season.
Yeah,
because he was in the
Yeah,
dog.
the
which
bad
is
injury
basically for free trade. It was basically
It was basically a cut, but
it was a trade off from round 7 to round 6 for the Rams in the draft pick. That's it.
The
But
bad injury
Jefferson
break I
is a
have.
fantasy bad break. I think injury. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody else would fit that.
No, like I
Maybe
agree with you too.
I
And
don't.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw in one more, just
Okay.
because we all drafted him in either the end of the first, beginning of the second,
Nick Chubb.
and yep.
Chubb.
And if
Yeah,
you weren't
that's-
able to get Jerome Ford, like that was
Yeah,
a
that's a good
backbreaker
call,
right
Ryan.
there.
Yeah,
That one actually
Nick
that's
Chubb's a
that's very
good
close.
call.
Because he also was I think he was an RB. I think he was the RB1 before he got hurt.
I think
It's
so
either
too.
him he was
He was on
dominant.
fire, like there was no stopping
he was
him.
catching passes. They actually
Yeah, he
used
was
him in
doing
the
everything.
receiving game.
So, are you switching to Chubb, Dan? Because I think
Yeah,
I would
because
with
he's
it
out
being
for the year. He was out for
season-ending.
the year.
Season
Yeah, he was out
ending,
for the year.
and that might even be devastating for Dynasty because the recovery could flow into next. I think that's the
And because of how bad running backs have been, like McCaffrey's still a top 5 dynasty running back. That's how bad running backs have been
Yep.
for dynasty.
All right, next one, the bust of the year. Who sucked without reason?
I'll go first.
With suck without injury.
Yep.
What about limited injury?
Depends.
But
I think
How
the
is
answer is Tony Pollard, but
How was the performance when they
I
were
would say
on the
Austin
field?
Eckler.
Austin Eckler's also. But he missed time, didn't he?
He did,
I think he missed a couple games.
but he was bad on the.
I was gonna give mine to Tony Pollard because he didn't miss any games.
Yeah, Austin Eckler was bad when he was on the field though. On a points per game roll though, it's Pollard by like
And then
0.4 of a point.
maybe Damian Pierce, because Pierce was a
Pollard.
Oh,
fourth
yeah.
and fifth rounder.
Paul-
Pierce might be the answer.
Pollard was still also the RB14 though too, because of how bad running. backs
because
were
he
this
stayed
year.
healthy.
Yeah, and because of how bad running backs were this year. I mean, he was still
Oh my god.
12.9 PPR points a game.
That's it's try telling having Pollard in the fantasy playoffs and not having him be the bust of the year. I think people are. I saw it on X when someone said Damian Pierce even over Tony Pollard because of Pierce's ADP was, I think it was round 4 or 5 for most of the draft.
Oh my
season.
God.
Can I?
And
throw,
Pierce was fucking bad
can I-
this year.
Can I throw shade for a second?
Yes.
Even though I know we're not
Yeah.
giving it to this guy.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
A
he
combination
went
of bad and Arthur's of not up to expectation plus Arthur Smith.
Dude was a first round pick that was like behind James Cook in points per game, and you got James Cook 7 rounds later.
Running backs are a bitch of a position.
Remember the one running back
It's
we're all on because he's like, oh, there's no running back behind there. He's gonna get all these carries, all these catches. He's got a rookie quarterback. There's no way, he's gonna be better than what he did last year. He can probably match what he
Miles
did last
Sanders.
season. Yes,
Miles Sanders is a great one. He got fucking benched.
Miles
That's
Sanders
a good one.
ended up being nothing.
He was literally benched for Chuba Hubbard.
Yes, literally benched for Chuba
That
Hubbard.
is that one. That is the answer.
That is.
He may have went after Tony Pollard, but that is the answer. It's Miles Sanders.
Yeah,
it's all running backs. It's even more hilarious that it's all running backs. Like there's no wide receivers on this.
Jaleel McLaughlin even did better than Miles Sanders.
I wouldn't say that there's
oh
no wide receivers on this though, right? There's.
I'm saying in terms of like, okay, what are some wide receivers? I'm trying to think.
A wide receiver who like what kind of makes me like review this year is like, we're all kind of zigging and zagging. Usually when we zig, I like to zag. So I usually like tend to do the opposite.
That's not a bad call to make ever.
So wide receiver.
And I was like, oh,
sorry.
I was like, oh, that didn't work. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to do this
wide
receiver heavy thing, and it worked.
Wide receivers this year, Chris Godwin, 12.4 points per game. Everybody thought that he was gonna outperform Mike Evans and draft him ahead of.
Maybe they
Evans
win within a
and
round
blah,
of each
blah,
other.
blah,
I think Mike Evans is a surprise. I think more so than Godwin was.
Chris Godwin ended up as the wide receiver 30, not in a points per game, just overall.
Yeah,
which is pretty bad. Drake London was a wide receiver 36, didn't miss any time. That was pretty bad. Cooper Kupp, even without the injuries. Let's see.
Yeah, he got replaced the post return.
Remember when we were all on Brandon Cooks? Never been under 1,000 yards.
And he helped me. He helped me.
He bounced in late. He's late season ad.
When Dallas decided to start throwing him the fucking football, yeah, he was fine.
Christian Watson.
Injuries.
Hurts. He was hurt for most of the
but still, like he's still never
he was
did,
even he wasn't great even when he was healthy.
9 games and 422 receiving yards.
T. Higgins is bad. How about Hollywood Brown?
Yeah,
wide receiver 49.
Yeah, he was fine until the nagging injury started to show up, and then it was just like he played a lot of games and he should have just sat. It was. I think hamstring related too.
Actually, I do like that one. Hollywood Brown would probably be the good one you could go with.
Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy was bad.
Oh my god, yeah, oh yeah. I still think Hollywood Brown was worse though because of the whole injuries.
Brown was, yeah. There's still glaring.
Cortland Sutton was pretty bad.
I don't know if any glaring bad ones. Yeah. The Russell Wilson effect.
See, T. Higgins is one that keeps popping up in front of my face.
Jalen Waddle?
Can't remember if he missed time.
Oh yeah, Jalen Waddle.
Waddle, I think he missed a game or two, but I mean, it was. I think a lot of us. I think it was more so the excitement of Miami than it was Waddle. I think we just over projected Miami. Stephon Diggs, dominant start to the season, but a disastrous finish.
Jahan Dotson.
That was fucking brutal.
Remember when people were taking Jahan Dotson above George Pickens?
Oh yeah, he was going top 30 wide receiver.
The frustration of both offenses.
Yeah, except Pickens.
For love of God,
contributed.
Can Pickens get a quarterback that can throw him a football, please?
Hey, he's got one. Mason Rudolph. Look at his last 2 weeks.
And no Matt Canada. Thank God.
No Matt Canada helps. I'm missing anybody else. I don't know. Who are we giving it to?
The bus?
Yeah.
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders.
I'm giving mine to Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year. So injury or obscurity?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Dude. DeMar Hamlin. The dude literally died and came back to barely play. But no, I'm kidding. For fantasy, is it Flacco?
Nah. You can't do it on recency bias. 4 games isn't going to get you that.
Oh, boy. Is it Kyron Williams?
He came back from nothing.
Well,
he came back from nothing, but
but Mike Evans, because we all wrote him off. We all wrote him
Mike
off because
Evans,
of Baker
but
Mayfield, thinking that he'd go to Chris Godwin.
he had a good year last year. It was just
Right, but we all
everyone
wrote him
wrote him
off
off
because of
this. I know, but but he didn't come
Everybody
back from
wrote
being bad last year. He was good last year.
Baker Mayfield, quarterback 9.
Baker's a good one. Ryan,
Yeah.
you and I know that. I mean, he was a fine stream. He was streamer
So
plus.
here's a couple options: Baker Mayfield, quarterback 9; Alvin Kamara, running back 9. After some suspension stuff, Brees Hall, running back 4 after the ACL tears and everything.
He's RB4.
He was the RB4 overall, 16.3 points per game.
Boy, when he was
also top 10 points per game ahead of Rashad White, just behind Jameer.
I think Brees.
And people have recency bias with them with the championship game of just dominating it.
Yeah.
Brees Hall had a dominant playoff besides this wild card week, which was very bad. I'm okay with Brees.
Yeah, I actually like
I think
because
quarterback wise, Baker's return to streamability, I guess, is good, but Brees with the return, and I mean, he had 100 yards his first game back, and he played every game this season. I don't think he missed a game at all.
He didn't, even though he didn't miss a game.
Struggled in the beginning with
he had some
with
really
what the Jets
bad
wanted to
QB
do.
play and stuff, but I think it's Brees.
Yeah, I think Brees is a good call.
All right, breakout player of the year. So this is not rookies. This is, more dynasty related. Who broke out? Give you some options. Quarterback Brock Purdy at the quarterback 6 after a little coming out party last year. Jordan Love at the quarterback 5.
I would give it the Love more than Purdy. I think people had expectations. I think as we got closer to the season, and after Trey Lance was traded,
Kyron Williams.
I like James Cook.
Kyron Williams is also. James Cook's a great one.
James Cook had a huge season. Isaiah Pacheco.
He's got draft capital installation. Pacheco. It's hard to give it to a running back. I mean, it's not, but.
And then wide receiver side, ARSB, somehow Amon-Ra took another step.
CeeDee Lamb jumping from tier 2 to tier 1.
To the tier 1.
Yeah.
A lot of arguments for him to be wide receiver 1, too.
Brandon Ayuk has a top 12 wide receiver season under his belt now. What else we got? Nico Collins at the 18. And then tight end wise, I think your best option there is going to be probably Cole Kmet and Trey McBride.
Yeah, McBride
would be my breakout tight end for sure.
100 targets, 791 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Just a massive end to the season. Yeah. Once Kyler came back, it was the McBride. I mean, Dobbs started the McBride show, and then it was Kyler when he came back.
Cole Kmet was a little better, but he also started to break out last year.
Yeah.
So
can't really say CeeDee already broke out.
No, you can't really say CeeDee. So I don't think it's other than CeeDee, your next best option is go.
Brandon Aubrey, he was a kicker 22 being drafted. He finishes number 1.
Yeah, Brandon Aubrey. I like the James Cook call, especially as the year went on. He broke out, became incredibly reliable. Had one bad game stretch. Other than that, was incredibly good. Not a ton of the touchdowns.
I would give it to Kyron, but I'm not giving it to a player that's already gotten a reward.
Right. I'm thinking
just because sport names.
I'm thinking James Cook. Although also we have not awarded a wide receiver anything yet.
Until rookie of the year.
Yeah. On James Cook.
Yeah. We gave it tight end a reward, so I won't have to give it to McBride. Even though I
do like McBride too.
I think personally I give it to McBride, but I have no issue with either or.
Ryan, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm getting the reward.
You know what? Let's give it to McBride because I feel like McBride was more beneficial for us in fantasy because of the way the tight end position was this year. We didn't have that overabundance of Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews being injured, Hawkinson actually he went down, but he was dominating. George Kittle having his hit and miss games. Trey McBride, he just seemed more. He was just efficient. Like he was guaranteed those points every week, week in and week out.
True, and your tight end 9 is Jake Ferguson. Mark Andrews.
Well,
Mark
hurt.
Andrews. Mark Andrews was still the tight end 11.
So bad tight ends
That's how
were,
bad tight
man.
ends are.
Oof. And plus, tight ends in Dynasty typically will hold their value longer just because obviously longer shelf lives and running backs tend to fluctuate so heavily just with the
And only
lower
wow.
shelf life. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine Buffalo's going to fix the passing game because they went away, man, hard. Like,
Dalton Kincaid is your tight end 13. But yeah,
yeah,
Mark Andrews.
he would have been higher if Knox not have, if Knox didn't come back. Like Kincaid was on a great path until Knox came back.
Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert finished as tight end 1s. Both missed
multiple
significant
games.
time.
Yeah.
George Kittle was the only one that went over 1,000 yards.
Dalton Schultz too.
He went over 1,000?
Yeah,
Kittle was over
1,020.
yards.
Huh. Good for him.
90 targets.
The only one,
Mm-hmm.
What a weird fucking year for tight ends, man.
right?
The drop off from David Njoku to Cole Kmet in total points was 37.
I want to say Njoku would be a great one too, but man, we need a little bit bigger sample size.
2 to 3 points a game.
And he's not going to have Flacco throwing him the ball either anymore.
There are very clearly more tight end insights. Very clearly 2 tiers, just like there are every year, right? Actually, there's very clearly multiple tiers, 3 tiers before you get a big drop off. You've got your elites, which would have been Laporta, Kelsey, Hawkinson. Mark Andrews actually would have fallen in this weird tweener position, like tier 1.5. And then Evan Ingram, George Kittle, David Njoku, and then Cole Kmet, Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, and Dallas Goedert would have rounded that out as tier 3.
The injuries to Hawk and Kelsey's fall off and Andrews' injury has shifted the dynasty tight end community up. The dynasty tight ends on its head.
All right, and your rookie of the year is Puka Nacua because he's about to break rookie receiving records. And this isn't an indictment. This is actually a really, really good rookie class. I'm excited to talk about him here in a couple weeks and how their year 1 went. But I mean, this rookie class ended up being very, very good. But
better than expected.
Yeah, Puka was
a lot better. Yeah.
There was a lot of like wide receiver 2, 3 type performances, and not to take anything away from the likes of like Rashee Rice, for example. But Puka was just heads or tails as a 5th round pick that nobody was on. Just out of the gate, huge season. He's gonna be, as of right now, he'd be 4th in receiving yards in the league.
Yeah, he is
he might surpass
the true
AJ
one-for-one
Brown.
replacement. The true one-for-one replacement.
Yeah. I mean, he's
insane.
Had a better season than anybody anticipated, and 1,400 yards, 154 targets, 101 receptions, 1,445 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he's that guy. And
Top 12 dynasty receiver.
Yep. Right out of the gate that nobody was on. So good for Puka. This is the one category other than the CMC one where it's like, yeah, we don't really need to talk about this because we know that it's him. Rashee Rice had a solid season, didn't break 1,000 yards. Been the only reliable.
Honorable mention to Sam Laporta.
Honorable mention to Sam Laporta for sure.
And CJ Stroud, I guess.
What he did.
I don't know.
CJ Stroud.
I guess. There's no other rookie. I mean, you really can't say Gibbs because Gibbs is drafted so highly.
Yeah.
And I think expectations are already high enough.
CJ Stroud was good. You can't really say Gibbs. You can't really say Bijan because they both underperformed.
Well, it's definitely, we know it's definitely not Bijan. Yeah. I think if Cousins didn't get hurt, I think we would be talking about Addison more.
Yeah. And, Jayden Reed was relevant down the stretch, and they're guys. So it's going to be fun when we come to talk back to talk about that class. Jackson Sense and Jigba was quiet, but overall body of work is right there. So we'll have a fun conversation on that in a couple weeks.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
That will be April 8th. So I'm going
Quite a few weeks in.
counting up 2021, 2022, 2023. So
You said what, April?
no, sorry, February.
I was
it
like,
is,
what?
No,
So
sorry.
that's
We're
firmly
quite a few
draft
weeks.
season, bud.
You've been doing this a long time. No, February 8th.
Yeah. That makes sense.
February 8th. All right. That's the last ever Fuelies. So that's an episode I actually look forward to every year, is being able to hand that stuff out and do that. Good conversations around news. A little longer episode this week, so thank you guys for tuning into that. Probably tried to fit too much in here. Learning scenario as we move back into the off season. We'll yeah, right.
Learning scenario in our final year.
Well, I've been mastered by the last episode.
Learning scenario for the next 33 weeks. We'll be back next week to recap Black Monday and preview the off season. Until next time.
Till next time.
Beer Fuel.
Recording stopped.